Welcome to this exciting conversation about education and resilience as well as care. My name is Alan Herbert. Sign language interpreter is Chebiwot, and we have a guest in studio who we're going to be having this conversation with. What do you know about inclusive education? Tell us in the comment section, and anything that you know about respite care. You can find us on our social media platforms, that is at Science TV Kenya, and you can utilize the numbers on your screens to SMS us or WhatsApp us so that we are able to get that feedback. Now I turn to my guests, give them the opportunity to introduce themselves and introduce us before we go direct into the conversation. Karibu sana Science TV. Kindly introduce yourself and what you do.
Thank you very much. My name is Fidel Adabaraza, and a mother, first and foremost, a mother to a 15-year-old girl, biologically, that is, and she's called Rosella Miracle. She lives with neurodevelopmental disorders, and that means she's autistic, she has cerebral palsy, and sensory disorder, inclusive delayed development as well. And so, apart from that, of course, I have other children, fostered and all that, but that's my biological child. And then she gives me the purpose, the drive to what I do. An advocator. I do advocacy for inclusion, disability inclusion and awareness. And I'm also an ordained minister and serve with Christ is the Answer Ministries as the deputy head of the Christian Education Department. And with that, we do discipleship materials for spiritual nourishment of the congregation. And I'm also an educator. I have a PhD in education, and with an emphasis in neurodevelopmental disorders. And that means, yes, my daughter gave me that inspiration, motivation, because I really wanted to understand who she is and how to be able to be a mother to her and give her full life as a person. And so with that, getting a child who does not talk, she's nonverbal, a child who you would see her frustration and many things around her, I really wondered what to do. And many people didn't also know how to have her and how to support her and all that. And that broke me as a mother. And so with that, I was trying to look for anything and everything that I can get knowledge to understand how to live and how to walk and how to have her full life. And that's why I did that. And so I am also a part-time faculty at Pan Africa Christian University and Africa International University, especially education as a whole, but I really thrive in disability education.
Wow. Congratulations for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And I want us to start this conversation at the point of parenting before we go to the other aspects of education and the campaign that you are leading. Many parents, I really don't know how to put this, but tell us how the parenting journey has been. And I ask this because there was an expose that was done by one media house in the country, and it reported upwards of close to 100 children with disabilities and counting neglected. To you as a parent, when you watch that story and you are walking your a journey with your 15-year-old, how has parenting been for you?
It's not easy. Let me begin that way and say that the truth is quite a number of children are neglected. And research shows that disability is actually on increase, and a number of children that are that are neglected, and especially when we come to now the internal disabilities, because the physical disabilities, as much you find that somehow when people talk of disability, they think and we narrow ourselves to the physical. But now when we come to the cognitive, where the injuries the injuries are on the brain, the neurodevelopmental, because neurodevelopmental injuries on a developing brain. And so you'll find a cluster of autistic, cerebral palsy, dyslexia, and among others. Now, in our context, we'll still look at that form of disability through lenses of misperceptions. And so we think it's witchcraft. We think it's, and that is not to say that the physical, in fact, there are people who still even think the physical of the same. But now when you go to these ones, we tend to think they are, it's witchcraft, it's bad omen, it's they are demon possessed and all that. And so you find that even because of that, the family will ostracize such children. Some of them will actually want to, even there are cultures that still bury them alive, throw them in the bushes to be eaten by hyenas or something. And many a times the mothers will even be chased away with the children, like, you have brought, bad omen to our family and all that. Some husbands, and a majority of them, walk away. They don't have the stamina to really, raise a child with all the complications and all that. And so we find ourselves in that space. And so that said, I found myself in the same space where, number one, I single parent my child. And so number two, apart from that, we have had places where many people, it was a new thing. Even in our own family, we had never had a child with disability. And so every person would be like, it is new to them. They don't know how to handle her. Up to today, I cannot tell myself, like I can tell my child, go to your grandmother's place and then I'll be elsewhere. We have to be together. Wherever I am, we have to be together, because nobody else knows how to raise her, how to handle her, how to walk the journey with her and all that. And so you find that it's a quite demanding journey. And so here you are a mother, you are all alone, you're the sole breadwinner, you have to go to work. And this child, they need somebody to be with them 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There must be somebody with them. But then apart from that, their life itself is quite demanding. You need medication, you need therapies, occupational therapies, for them to even gain the daily life, whatever hacks in life, milestones, to be able to walk, to be able to even sit. I was telling somebody yesterday, even to be able to just have the head hold. I was held after 2 years. I used to carry my baby not on the back but on the chest, because if I carried her on the back, the head will fall, and you see the head is the heaviest organ on a human body, so it will fall backwards. So I had to carry her in front and then hold the head like this, and she was heavy. By the time you put her down, you feel your entire chest is very, you feel aches and pains all over. In fact, there are times you will find, and as you walk around, people will give stares that are so unfriendly. Where you're walking, somebody's looking at you and you can tell, you almost, a prolonged stare that makes you uncomfortable. And those are the stares I have walked with my daughter. Everywhere we go, people look at us until you want to feel like, please, can you look somewhere else? We are okay. We are fine with our life. We are very fine. So we are just walking. We are minding our business. Mind your business. And so you find those, and then you find the mamas. There are people who will be like, you have put demons or spirits in the baby so that this baby can, you have like sacrificed the baby so that maybe they can bring you something or wealth or something. And you find all those things, and you're just trying as a person, as a parent, and accusations will be all over. And that becomes actually, the context that we are talking about and all that. And so even in that context, I have walked through that. Then there is the aspect that you will find of rejection in the society that comes with you, to you even as a parent, because many a times you'll go, even when this child go to a place where it's school going age, you go, you knock this door, school, and then the first thing you are asked, can they talk? No. Can they take themselves to the toilet? No. Can they feed themselves? No. And then you tell no. We don't take them. We don't have the resources. We don't have the, the capacity. We don't have. And so every place I went and knocked, my daughter was rejected. I felt the rejection. She didn't know, but I'm sure for me, I felt the rejection. It was like I'm the one who has been rejected. Then you walk away with your child. So you go various places, you find the same. I have mentioned that I'm a pastor. I'm in church and I'm a children's pastor. And I see we have in church and we are ministering to all these children, but my own is at home because nobody is able to minister to her that spiritual nourishment to the level she can understand as the rest of the others. And that began to speak to me. I'm like, what is this? Am I saying my child, even just before, every person rejects her, but even before God, I cannot get away to communicate the same, and all that. And at times getting now, even the nannies to take care of the child, when it's hard to get a good, trustworthy nanny for a child who is typical, it is very 10 times more, 100 times more difficult to get for a child who is neurotypical. So you find all those challenges, some will mistreat and all that. And so it is always a life of you are just hanging in there, trusting God, praying all is well and all that. And so that has been the journey. And the hospital visits, you don't even want to talk about them. You are in hospital day in, day out. There's a time I was in hospital from, day one of the year to, in fact, when she was born in March, we came out of hospital in September. And then after that, we did a daily visit to the hospital. And that will come even with convulsive disorder and all that. And so we have been on medication from day one up to today. There's no day my daughter has not taken medicine. Even like I have come now, I've given her medicines before I've come. And that has been, so you get all that. So there is a lot that we can talk about.
Absolutely. There is a whole lot that we can talk about. And I hope you have the stamina and mental strength, because I realize that this is a very emotional conversation. And I hope that the viewers will be able to watch this conversation. They will be able to learn a thing or two, so that either from a perspective of a parent who is mothering or parenting a child with a disability, or to a community member who knows a neighbor who has a child with a disability, and they might be looking at them with particular eyes, but this conversation will help them to sort of sit down and introspect and ask themselves, what are we really doing to our neighbors? If you don't mind, Daktari, take us to the point of the birth of the child, of your amazing daughter. What were you told at that point? And I ask this because when you have quoted the statistics that disability is on a rise in this decade, a lot happens at the point of birth. And if mothers who probably an expectant mother is watching this, probably they might start taking precaution. They might start going to the for antenatal care a little bit more rigorously, so that they are able to prepare themselves for what's coming. Paint a picture for us that fateful day you've had your daughter.
Maybe just to go back and say that, number one, it's very important for any mother to go for antenatal care. Antenatal care is not anything that you will want to juggle with and say,
you postponed
and all that. Nitafanya tu. In fact, it should be like this. If you know psychologically you're preparing to get a child, get pregnant. It's unfortunate, though, that some people get pregnant unexpectedly, and then we say, oh, it was an oops or something. But no, if you actually know, you
cautiously, you're planning for it.
For a baby, because the people who plan, you say, I now want to get a child. Begin to prepare your body, yourself as a woman, psychologically begin to eat the foods. In fact, if you went to maybe some doctors will even begin to give you some supplements like folate and all that to make sure your body is really nourished and all that. And then you begin the journey with a gynecologist. That is very important. You keep going. every visit. Don't skip, go.
Yeah.
Don't do self-medications to yourself at any given time and just say, okay, I can go off the counter, I'm pregnant, but I feel a headache, I can go and buy this drug. No, that is a no-no for a pregnant woman. Don't do that. Don't self-medicate in anything anyway.
Yeah.
Keep away things like, alcohol, wine. There are others who, use that. If you know you're pregnant, please don't. Don't avoid places where people are smoking and all that, because you inhaling, it affects all this child. So take every precaution on your end as though it is all dependent on you, but also pray as though it's all dependent on God, that I know, because life is sacred, and it's only God who gives life and gives human who sustains. So do everything within your power and let God do everything within his power. And so pray even for the doctors that are going to take care of this child, as you walk with them to the very end, to the point of delivery and all that. I know there are some cases of disability that come maybe during the child delivery. Maybe that is the time, maybe there is a little bit of negligence, or so to speak, and maybe some lack oxygen, maybe it's a medical failure in one way or another, and a child ends up getting disability, or lack oxygen, asphyxia and all that. At times, it could be maybe because of injuries during that childbirth process, or at times it could be even an illness later on that could cause the disability and all that. And so there are a number of things for others, and others I would also want just to say it's natural, maybe if it's inherited. Because we have some families that will have a history of that, and so it's inherited. So the doctors can do anything and everything within their power to save the child, but then it still comes out that way. So that is also another story. But also some injuries, some falls. Some people do this thing of later on when a child has been born, and you'll allow me to just mention that when a child has been born and they are growing up, and dads are the ones who are fond of this. These games the dads do, they throw the child up and then they wait and then they hold the child. They think the child is a ball. The child's head is very fragile. If that child slips from your hands and they fall down, I'm telling you, chances of injuring the brain of that child are very high. And you'll not know, you'll just think it's a fall. And some of actually the falls when they are with their nannies and all that.
And the nanny, they don't report back to the parents.
They don't report. Mtoto ametoka kwa kiti, fallen down, or from the bed, fallen down. And they don't report. And you never get to notice. And later on you realize mtoto is beginning to and so you wonder what's happening, but you don't associate it with the fall that they had. That is what actually tampered with them and all those. So there are a number of things that could happen. Now, for my daughter's case, it's not birth related. It was later on while in hospital. I'll just say it is a matter of, it was misdiagnosis of of a particular infection she had, and given some medications that then triggered convulsions that again were silenced, treated accordingly. And that led to lack of oxygen because she began to convulse and lacked oxygen, and then everything went south. Yes, but there are a number of things that can cause that. And for people, so you need to take care of it as a parent during pregnancy, and also take care of it during childbirth itself, but then even after childbirth, the care of the child and all that, anything, so, and the history, of course, eliminating and the like.
Very important. Before you go for the break, I like it that you openly spoke about the church, and given your knowledge of the disability space, is that the church for a long period of time has been known to propel the charity model when it comes to disability inclusion. Or these persons are special in this way, these persons are special in this way. As an ordained minister, and as you've also shared that you are ministering to these young children, but then your own child has been left at church, at home, sorry. How have you been able to navigate that? And definitely the congregants know that sister so-and-so has a child, but this child is not here. How do they how do you navigate that? And probably this might be a question that might not be allowed on television, but you hear that people would always say ni baraka kuna sababu kwa nini Mungu alikupa mtoto kama huyo. Have you had such sentiments even within the church, and how do you counter them, or how do you remain rooted in your work in the ministry?
Number one, in fact, that statement, ni baraka kwa nini Mungu alikupatia mtoto kama huyo. Number one, I said yes, because children are a blessing and a heritage from God.
From God. But you know, there's some who say it condescendingly.
Yes, like it's okay, hiyo ni yako, ilikuwa ni mugao wako. Yeah. So number one, I begin by letting them know, when we talk about disability, what comes to your mind? That is the first question I always ask people. When I mention disability, what comes to your mind? And I let people tell me all stories and tell them, disability is not just, it begins with people first. People. And people are people. A person who happens to have a disability. We are not talking about trees. We are not talking about tables. We are not talking about wood or stone. We are talking about a person, first and foremost. A child like any other child, first and foremost. What are the needs of a child? What are the wants of a person? The needs, tell me. Now, they don't become different when a person has a disability. If a person needs love, it is not any different if they have a disability. If they need care, it's not any different if they have a disability. If they need spiritual nourishment, and every person has a spiritual quest, it is not any different because a person has a disability. And then I also challenge and say, we don't ask to be disabled, right? But disability can get you at any given time in life, no matter your status. Disability finds itself in the house of even presidents, the queens, the kings. It will find itself in the house of the poor, the house of the rich. It does not discriminate. Disability does not discriminate. It will find you wherever you are. So all of us have to be open to disability. Now, to say there is a reason why God gave me, when you are actually probably you are not doing what you're supposed to do, that is right for this person, is downplaying this person and their rights to life like any other person. If it's a hospital negligence, you cannot tell me there's a reason why you neglected my child to end up like this. Then you tell me there's a reason. No, you're downplaying. Face the truth, do what is supposed to be right. Now, for my child, I've not continued to leave her at home. She goes to church on Monday. The reason why I went now to do philosophy of education and veered into neurodevelopmental disorders. And I can tell you, when I went, I was a pioneer in that neurodevelopmental studies, because I wanted to do child development and family studies. And child development and family studies, then I veered into neurodevelopmental disorders. Nobody else had done in this university neurodevelopmental disorders. And in fact, the university got to me and said, no, we have not done that. We don't have supervisors in that area. I said, I'll look for my own supervisors, because this is what I'm going to do. They thought I was joking. And so they said, go ahead and get us somebody. I actually looked all over in Kenya. I did find I got somebody from the US. I agreed, and they sent me all their, the documents and all that. I submitted to the university and said, here is the person. They looked at it, and I think they realized they have to pay heavily for that. So they said, no, we'll supervise. And so they agreed to supervise, and they worked with me the journey and supervised me, and I graduated. My number one question was, my child, I didn't mention that she was a twin, and the twin sister died. And so I was coming from also an area where I knew, and you know, the trauma, thinking, how long do I have my child?
Yeah.
Can she die? And my question was, because I'm a pastor and always tell people there's only one way to God, through Jesus Christ, I was like, if she dies, what next? Are you telling me you're going to tell everybody how to get to heaven and not my child? So are you saying because she's disabled, she's a candidate to hell, so you are giving her to Satan on a silver platter? Here, take, because you're disabled. And I couldn't take that in. I was like, no, you cannot tell me to stand on the pulpit, tell everybody else this is the door, get into this. And then I shut my child out, and you expect me to get into this door myself. And I said, no, something is not adding up. She's disabled, she's autistic, she has delayed development, she's nonverbal, she has sensory. Tell me how to get her with all that in her body to heaven, the same door. I need to. Because you cannot tell me that Jesus died for everybody apart from her, simply because she has disability.
Yeah.
And that disturbed me. And I went searching and trying to, how do I break it down to her? And today she loves church. She will, in fact, most of the time, if you went and asked her where is mom, like she hears her,
Yeah.
she will sign church. It will be, most of the time it will be church. If you ask her, what is she doing? She'll say, pray. What else is she doing? Reading the Bible. She will actually sign for you a few things here and there, and she demands to be taken to church. Sensory has been the main issue because of loud music, and now that has been my main issue. How do I tell people, please, we don't have to be all loud, we don't have to shout and praise, and we are Pentecostals. I come from a Pentecostal background. Now that is, and then I try to get her the noise cancelling headphones. Before long, she realized she's very different from everybody else, so she doesn't like, she throws them out.
Throws them out.
Yeah, so we go, I told people, you will get used to her screams. You will get used, she will scream. If she's uncomfortable, she goes out, she walks. When she wants to come back in, she comes, because the church is her father's house just as much as it's your father's house.
Yeah.
And so that is how we have done it. And we have continued, and I just keep breaking it down. I've tried to get, you know, different gadgets just so that she can, she loves, you know, like any other child.
Yeah.
Phone
Phone,
and YouTube. So I'll go, if she goes to YouTube, I go to, you know, Christian channels to give her all the songs and all that. And I have gotten her, you know, a Bible, a Bible, you know, like the people who are sight impaired will have a small audio Bible that they walk with, and they can listen to it. I've just given her, because she cannot read.
Yeah.
So I know she cannot read and all that. So at times I just put for her deliberately, listen, even if it's, because our attention is not much, even if it's for 10 minutes, whatever you have listened, it's okay.
Yeah.
So trying different avenues to get this gospel to her. And I can tell you, I can tell you, we are at a better place.
Yeah.
We are not at a place where I'm fighting with the church. I want my child baptized. And she's not going to be baptized until you have taught her what baptism is.
Yeah.
Don't just put her in water because she'll think she's swimming.
Yeah.
So that is where I am at now. So at least we are at a place where she's now in church.
Yeah.
And in fact, Sunday school, we have gone, and I said, you cannot continue putting her with the babies, because initially, you know, she will not go with her age appropriate. Now she'll be with the babies. She's the tall one and the big one. And you know, she's big-bodied.
Yeah.
And you know, as a teenager, again, the body comes up. And so we're at a place where if she puts on this, you won't even know that it's not hers. You'll think it's hers. And all that, so we can share the top part of the, you know, blouses and all that, and she'll perfectly fit in. So now to take her to 3-4 year olds, because maybe
It doesn't
add up. So I said, no, she has to be with her, you know, fellow children. So eventually now, children, you see, ministry goes all the way to 14 or so. She's 15. She's now sitting in the main sanctuary with the adults. I'm asking, youth ministry, why don't you think about the youth that have disability? Why should my child be with the adults, and she's a child? Why can't she fit in? But again, youth ministry is much more louder than even the ones who even go to the extreme loud. And so I'm like, Jesus, so we have to. So Yeah, we are there.
Interesting. Before we go for the break, last one, and this is because I've seen challenges with churches becoming inclusive. To probably a churchgoer, a church leader who might be watching this, what are some of the few tips that you'd give them so that they can make their churches inclusive? And as you said at the beginning, not only for the physical disabilities, because churches, I also go to sit sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
And there was they pushed for an initiative to have sign language interpreters, and to a moment it felt as if that is what they felt, only that was
Yes.
what inclusion is all about. But then inclusion is wide and broad. What are some of the things that you would tell a church leader
Yes.
to try to implement to make the church space inclusive?
In fact, that has been one of my talks, and said, hey, people, disability is not limited to deaf.
Yeah.
Because anytime we talk about, and we have this, we call Challengers Ministry.
Yeah, the
so
Challengers
anytime
Ministry,
we
yes.
talk about Challengers Ministry,
Yeah.
we are basically referring to sign language.
Yeah.
And as long as
I
we
also
have...
have a problem. Okay, we are discussing
Yes, the
Mongea
name.
Nyumba, but
Yes, the name. I've even talked about the name
Yeah,
over
yeah.
and over and said, why do you call, this ministry
yeah.
this? In fact, for me, I have said, why can't you bring all the persons with disabilities together and allow us to give you a name, that
yes.
we feel this is the name we resonate with? We are still to get to that place where people buy in.
Yeah.
And then I've come to realize, until you are affected, when somebody is talking, it's like they're just
It does not
making
resonate
noise.
with you.
It does not resonate. It
Yeah.
just goes, and you're like, yeah, and you go, and that's the end of it,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, but thank you to bring us to this. Number one, to respect the fact that disability is not just a name referring to an object. When we talk about disability, we are talking about people, a person, people who happens to have a disability.
Yeah.
And this could be something that is either physical or maybe internal,
Yeah.
that affects the way they participate, in the service, or maybe limits their participation or restricts their participation. Activity limitation or restrict participation. And so this could be physical or something on their mind that restricts their participation or limits their activities in the congregation, in the worship. And once we have known that, the second thing to know is that because it is a person we are dealing with, they have a soul, a spirit, and body. And ours is to ensure that at the end of it all, their spirits don't, miss heaven.
Yeah.
Because we do not have a spirit that is disabled. Do you know that?
Yeah.
We don't have a spirit that is disabled. Most of the time we are talking about a body that has a disability, or a mind that has a disability, that restricts the participation of the person or limits their activities. But it's only the body. But a person comprises of soul, body, and
Spirit.
And so remember, ours at church is to nurture the spirit. So why are we leaving the spirit of this person
Behind.
And then number three, to realize that disability is broad. We have the physical,
Yeah.
and we have the, cognitive.
Yeah.
All these people matter, and we need to see them, supported. And then that brings us to the fact that you need to realize that then, if they are activity restricted or limited, participatory restricted, it means that they need support. What support should you give? How do you give the support? And then realize that for disability, then it is person-led. The support is person-led.
Yeah.
You don't equate two people. They could even be having a similar disability, but you don't equate the two of them, because each one of them, you have to understand them as a person. And especially when you come to those ones with, you know, cognitive injuries, brain injury, they are not lumped together. You can find two people with cerebral palsy. You don't treat them on the same, similarly. It is person-led. Spiritual nourishment, nurture is person-led. Because you will find, let's say, for example, somebody, the child or a person who is autistic. It is a spectrum. They are autistic, but one is on at this level, point A of the spectrum. Another one is at point J of the spectrum. Another one is at point Y of the spectrum. You can never, you know, sit them in a classroom and decide, we are talking to you because all of you are autistic and therefore we want to talk to you like this. No, you actually have to have individualized discipleship lessons for them, or discipleship plans. The same way in schools, they have individualized education plans. Even in church, there's no reason why we cannot have individualized discipleship plans for persons with disability. And especially, now if again, they maybe it's physical, maybe you can put a cluster and say sign language. It's easy to say all the persons who have, you know, auditory impairment will provide for you a sign language interpreter. But even as much so, you need to still do sign language interpretation, but follow up on individual basis. Because if we are doing a blanket like this, you may not know, because my comprehension level could be even in a classroom. There is a child who is an A student. There's a child who is a C student. You don't just do a blanket and you keep moving. You still have to find, as a teacher, how are you helping the C to grow? And so even with that, you still have to. But then for these other ones, so with neuro, you make sure it is individualized and every person has somebody who is attached to them and is working with them to break it down to their level. And if they have to, learning must not always happen in an enclosed area like this. Some of them learn in the field, walking around, running around, and do. Let's normalize that. If that is how they learn, and at times you will think they are not even listening to you, but they are actually very pretty much listening to you as they run around and kick the ball and you tell them about Jesus. It is still a way of discipleship. And then we need to realize that it is not only children who get disabled. These children grow. Because again, when we come to those ones of neuro, we talk about autism and all that cerebral palsy in children ministry. Now, when they have grown, like my miracle, you'd hardly see a disabled youth in church. It will be one here, a spot here and there. But again, most likely, it will be a physical impairment. Those are the ones, where do they go? And then when you come to adult church, they are completely none. Have you ever seen an autistic adult in church? Hardly. Hardly. Now the question is, don't they grow? Now those are the people that actually, when they grow and they get to the youth, we tie them in bedrooms, we lock them in our rooms, in our houses, and we hardly see them in our streets, on our streets. We hardly see them in our offices. We actually hardly see them in our schools, because they have now been locked. They're the ones that you will find, if they are from maybe rich backgrounds, completely in their own rooms. They never see the light of the day. If you go to that house and you ask people, how many children do you have in this house? If they have 3 children, they will tell you 2. And they have 3 because they don't want to be associated with the third one who has a disability. If it is in those maybe poor background, they are even completely put to very inhumane conditions. There are others that are even made to sleep with the cows, goats and all that. They don't see the light of the day. But how can you treat a human being like that? So it is something that the church needs to awaken to, but realize that we are not talking about just numbers, we are talking about souls. Even one soul into the kingdom of God counts. They count. And so we need to reach out to them. And it's not every person that at times we actually call them mwenda wazimu on our streets that probably was a mwenda wazimu. Maybe it was an autistic child. And as they grew up and they became, youth and all that, they went, they can go. Autistic, you have to be eyes on. They walk and they go and they disappear, and even the family, they fold their hands in everybody, and so nobody looks for them. They end up on the streets. They end up, wandering around. They cannot talk. They cannot explain themselves, and people tend to think ni wenda wazimu, but they are not wenda wazimu. It's just that it's negligence. People have not looked out for them. They cannot tell you where home is. They can't remember. They don't know, and all that, and so they end up on the streets like that.
Well, a lot of work needs to be done in that space, and this, of course, can be a conversation that we decide to extrapolate to different heights. But that is not the conversation that we are having this morning. Talk to us about beauty out of Maya Trust. What is it?
Thank you, Alan. It is actually beauty out of Maya.
Yes.
The miry clay. And basically saying God has picked us out of the miry clay.
Yeah.
Yes, and given us a platform to stand, and we can see the beauty that comes out of it.
Yeah.
Having mentioned that my daughter stayed in hospital from birth, in March all the way to September.
Yeah.
She was basically a person that even doctors didn't think would make it in life. Or she would survive and even come out of it. And so many a times, it was just like we are near death, situations.
Yeah.
And out of it with a lot of a journey that was so prolonged, you don't see the end, of it all. You don't see when you will reach the end of it all, or whether you will survive. But seeing how God has helped her, and she has blossomed. And as we speak, she's actually currently the brand ambassador for Mr. and Miss Inclusive Kenya. She won that crown last year.
Yeah.
Amidst all that and how she's coming up, we see this is beauty, but out of the miry clay. Were it not for the Lord, the enemy would have swallowed her alive.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and saw how many people struggle and go through the kind of challenges that I've had to go through with Miracle. I struggled. I told myself, I'm educated. How many people are not educated, and you're given such a child, and you are left to it, and you're wondering what next? Now, I didn't have any other child. I'm a first-time mother. How many first-time mothers go through it and they completely lose it? I always tell myself, if I didn't go nuts, berserk because of all these, it's purely because of God. I looked around and began to see even in church a number of children with disability. And then I don't live far away from Kibra. Slums, we are actually just on the border of Kibra. And there are a number of children. And I've gone to children's homes and I have found a number of children. And my heart breaks at times as I walk on the streets of Nairobi and I see maybe a child with cerebral palsy laid on the street, and at times it's very sunny and the child is in the sun. And, they have put up, a whole, Manila paper, next to the child explaining and all that. And, and I'm like, you're even killing this child by just doing this, And looking at all that, I was like, no, there needs to be beauty out of Maya that reaches to so many to bring the beauty out of them. The miry clay where you see this is mud, this is done, this is like a rose that has been trampled down completely and nothing good can come out of it. I look at my daughter, I'm like, no, if she come out of it and she can look like this, I think everybody else can come out of it, and all we need is support that is individualized per person, and education and advocacy and awareness and empowerment for inclusion and all that.
Yeah.
And so beauty out of Maya targets the children, the youth, and ecosystems for children, youth with disability, and more so neurodevelopmental disorders. Now, it's not just limited to neurodevelopmental disorders, it's disability, but the reason why I keep on saying neurodevelopmental disorders is because I want to let people know that disability is beyond physical. We have disability that, you know, somebody is look very perfectly like this, but it's on the brain. Until they talk, then you realize, okay, there's something wrong. Or until you begin to socialize with them, then you realize everything is not, you know, what you think. They have a world that we need to understand, go into their world, not waiting for them to come into our world. For very many, decades, we have wanted them to come into our world, and is what we call the normal, because it is normal to us. And then we term their world as abnormal. Yet we have not gone into their world
to understand it
fully. Understand, because actually from their world, then our world is abnormal. Their world, our world is what is abnormal. And so trying to empower every person and just enable, we say we are vessels to nurture and elevate lives and all that. And so that is what we are all about. And so we speak, we do advocacy, awareness, and advocacy awareness to let people know that this is a person we are talking about, and it's okay and it's normal to have a disability. It's normal. We normalize disability. It's not.
Absolutely. And we have to get to that point of, let's call it, quote unquote, normalizing disability.
Yes, normalizing disability.
You are planning a 2-day activity, and I see on day one you are targeting training teachers and on mentorship. How important is a teacher, even as you're talking to us about the activity? How important is a teacher in the life of a disabled child?
It's just as good as asking how important is a teacher in any life. Without a teacher, I wouldn't be where I am. I went to school, a teacher taught me in primary, in nursery school. Even when I didn't want to go to school, a teacher taught me how to be able to socialize beyond my mother's house, and how to be able to even know right from wrong, know 1 + 1, know what it means to dress in gray and blue. A teacher taught me. Life is all about learning. And learning begins right from our homes. Right from our homes. Our first parents, teachers are our own parents. And without a teacher, if a child is just born and left there and nobody to teach them anything and all that, then they will be completely, they will not know anything. It's a blank slate, and a teacher comes in to mentor, to teach, to guide, to lead. A teacher is a role model. And a child believes whatever teacher says and all that. And so when we are talking about teachers and being mentors, we are talking about people that these children will be able to learn from, the values, the ethos, to carry them through life as people. And so you're talking about those will be school teachers, formal school teachers, but even spiritual teachers, spiritual educators. That will include Sunday school teachers and the like. And what you're saying is that it's not very different how these children, because for them consistency is key. And so even parents will sit in those classrooms to learn, because one thing that I have come to learn about learning for children with disability, and especially the neurodevelopmental disability, is that it's not a one thing. You just don't go to school and then it ends in school. It needs to be a cyclic thing. And so we work together. So you'll find that the therapists are part of that group, and you'll find that the formal school teachers are part of that, that cluster. And then you find that the parents need to be part of that cluster, the medics, clinicians, and all that. And that is, I've tried it with my daughter, and I see it work. We are in a group where we have made it all around, so that in that particular group, the pediatrician is there, the neurologist is there, the orthopedic is there, the therapist is there, the speech therapist is there, the school teacher is there, and myself, I'm there. And if there's any other support thing that she does, I bring the person. The only person that I've not been able to include has been the nanny or the aide, because you keep changing them. And so you can't keep, every time. You don't know how long you're going to have somebody before they go. And so you don't want to keep on having the information of your child all over. But we work together so that when the school teacher says, today we have done 1, 2, 3, all of us are seeing. And so when it comes home, I'm building onto the same. And then the neurologist is also just keeping an eye. If they see something that is not going together or may be dangerous, they'll be like, hey, maybe that you can change it. It may not work very well because of 1, 2, 3. And the pediatrician, and maybe if something comes up and we say, she has begun doing this, we are all, and the medics will be like, it could be related to this that you're doing.
Yeah.
So maybe change here and change here, and we work together. And so that is mentorship and all that. And then we do individualized education plan, because all of us are together. We do individualized education plan, and so at the end of the term we say, this is where we are at, so what should be our target? And we are all saying, every voice is saying, you can add this, you can add this, you can try to do this, maybe this would be too much, and then we work together. And that is mentorship.
Yeah.
But that is the same thing to happen even at church and all that. So teachers are very, very important, very, very crucial.
Yeah. Family Fun and Respite Day. That is what is going to be happening on day 2 of the workshop. Explain to us what is respite, because this word has been thrown around so many times. I even saw it in the Persons with Disabilities Act 2025. Respite. What is respite care?
Now, respite care, just to break it down and bring it, make it easy for us to understand. I had alluded and said it's very difficult to get help in taking care of a child with disability.
Yeah.
It is work that is quite demanding, 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week and 365 days in a year. And you find that a parent's life revolves around that, so that you don't have any other thing you are thinking about. Your life is always this child until you don't even have time to even think about salon.
Yeah.
And so many people will be like, they are just unkempt and all that. But you hardly have time to think about that. Will you be thinking about going to the salon or taking care of your child? And people tend to think, oh, maybe because you have disability, munaka mashida too, and all that. And all that, but you don't have time to even just have a breather for yourself. And then some parents, eventually you get depressed. And what I didn't mention is that when you have a child with disability as a woman, or as a family, no woman carries a pregnancy for 9 months expecting and looking forward to get a child with disability.
Yeah.
Normally, none.
Yeah.
But when it happens, at times, people go through grief, and grief that is real, and grief that is prolonged, because you are grieving a child that you idolized. You thought the ideal,
my baby is going to be like
my
this.
ideal child, because I can tell you, as they touch their tummies, they are having an ideal child,
Yeah.
Images and all that. Now, when they get a one with disability, and then they get the stigma of the society, they don't know how to deal with it, and so they go into grief.
Yeah.
And all that. And so compounded with then 24 care and all that, they go into depression. And so we get that mental whatever. And so some of them, you find that they are always, maybe they have shrunk, or maybe they are always angry. You try something and they explode.
Yeah.
And people don't understand
On
that.
the offensive all the time.
Yeah, but it's because they're grieving, and then you are adding injury to it and all that. And so respite care is just to get a time where can they get a time when you can help, help them to breathe, relax, and you take care of their child as their need is needed. So needed help, where at times you just say hands off. I usually say in church, you can do this. We have different ministries. Can we even just say once a week or twice a week, twice a month, or maybe once a month, a different ministry says all the children with, this kind of disability or disability, come, and we are taking care of you. And you don't have to just sit with the children at home.
Yeah.
At church, I usually tell them, you can have, jumping castle, painting, they do different activities, drum sets, music, talent, and all that. Get them, do something. All of them will be doing something. You have a variety of activities. And then parents, either go relax or at times just take care of them as well. Take them to the salons, take the men to the barber, walk with them, just something, take them shopping or something. Or at times even take an exposure, you know, the children to the malls and all that. Some of them are so hidden until they have not even seen what a Naivas looks like and the like. So that way, the whole day, the children are taken care of, not by the parents, and that way you also help children to detach. Because when a child grows up, the only person they know is their dad or their mom.
Yeah.
Clinging on their dad and mom, they will not know how to socialize in the world. So at times you do that, and for a whole day they are detached, but you take care of them. So what the parents do is they tell you, these are the needs, this is what my child at this particular time is, this medication, these are the kind of feeds, and then you provide the same, and you engage this child. Have the therapists come. They can even do those therapies, physiotherapy, massage, and all that. If you have a warm pool, therapists can be there. Put them in the warm pool. Let them have hydrotherapy and the like. And all that, at the end of it all, you find the child is happy. And for once they feel somebody has cared. And if churches organize themselves, they can do that at least once a month. Absolutely. Or twice a month. And even you as a parent, you have a breather. And you can even go for your at least shopping or something, or you can go for ladies, do a manicure. I can tell you those things. It is therapeutic for a woman. It is therapeutic even for a man, just to have other men sit around you. And today, we just want to have mbuzi choma with you, but listen to you. Tell us your journey. How is your journey? And people just surround you with love. And that's respite care.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Respite care sounds, I'm going to be selfish and say not only children with disabilities or their parents, also us in this world, as things are running, we might need a bit of respite care. Just to go off of the busy schedule.
And somebody else taking care of you. Yeah. Actually, it's about somebody else taking care of you. Yes.
All right. This morning, we are having a conversation on matters of education in regards to children with disabilities, particularly neurodevelopmental disabilities, or what you would consider as non-visible disabilities. And we are talking about the activity that the Boom Trust is organizing, and it is deemed or dubbed a beauty out of mere trust. All right, and in the second half of the conversation, we spoke about the activities that they are going to be having. It is going to be a 2-day activity. Day one is about teaching and mentorship, walking a journey with parents and teachers, and teaching them on how to take care of their children with neurodevelopmental disabilities and any other child with disability. And day two is more about respite care, where your child is taken over by another person, and they are taken care of, and you take a break that you so deserve to have most of the times, because sometimes it is daunting to take care of your child. And in this half of the conversation, we want to talk about how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and where it's going to happen, and how you could be a part of it as well. Dr. Baraza, take us through when, where, how, why, the 5 W's, and they have the 5 W's and a H. So let us start with the when. When is it supposed to be happening? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Alan. We were supposed to do this in August, but because of less resources, we have decided to push it to December. And so we are planning to have this initiative take place on the 12th and 13th of December, 2025. And most likely, again, have it on the following weekend in Mombasa, because we are going to have the 12th and the 13th. We want to have it here in Nairobi, and the venue to be confirmed soon, but just within Nairobi here. We will be having, and looking forward to host, bring together over 100 teachers, caregivers, and neurodiverse children, teachers inclusive of the Sunday school teachers, but even formal education teachers. And especially on day one, we want to do teachers training and mentorship. And with this particular one, we want to focus on inclusive teaching strategies in classroom. How do you have inclusive teaching strategies so that you don't have a special class just for them, because that brings the them versus us, and them versus us brings discrimination and segregation. They can see you have given a class of the people that have a particular condition and all that, and we want to avoid that and bring inclusivity, because even in our own houses we don't have them versus us. We don't have their own houses and our own houses. In my house, I live with my miracle. We share the same bedroom and everything we share together. And so it's very different when she goes to school and, it's her own class, her own cluster. Something says it means they need to have their own society and our own society, but God didn't decide it that way. I think God decided it that we should be together, and so even in schools we can have inclusive classrooms. So we need to have inclusive teaching strategies, sensory friendly classrooms, adaptations, because some of them, like if they are autistic, they will have probably sensory issues and the like. So we need to have how do we do that, and behavioral management, because we have probably things that will look, they behave and we want to label, they behave like this, they behave like that, and then we tend to say it is out of the norm. But how do we manage that to bring a balance so that we are all together and all that? So that is what we want to focus on day one as we do that, and on the 12th of December. And then on the 13th, we want to have Family Fun and Respite Care Day. And that particular one, we want to bring the same team together. Now, teachers are also still encouraged to come so that then they can see how it's happening and what is happening and how you can still be able to go and do it in your own spaces. And so these are just a designed therapy-based play and bonding, where they will just like bond, play, and it's therapy-like, and we can have, the hydro, we can have the water therapies, we can have even the physiotherapies. If they are there, we will be happy to have them. We do the play, the painting, and all that is therapeutic and therapy kind of thing, experience for neurodiverse children. And their caregivers will be their parents, their nannies, their aides. Let them come, because they just need a break, and we'll feature things like music, dance, swimming, mental wellness support for those who just want to talk out. As a parent, you want to talk out and all that, what you have been going through. But as we do that, we'll again come to realize that it is not just something that comes because somebody might be talking and they're saying how they're overwhelmed, and we know how daunting the journey is. And so with that, we want to be able to share sanitary packs. A number of these children are on sanitary cares, like, because we are talking about the youth also and all that. So sanitary packs for our children. They don't have to walk around with red roses all around simply because they have a disability. We need to be able to reach out. And some parents, because of the cost of living and because of the needs that are there, they are not able to afford some of these things. They become a luxury. Yet you and I will know it is a necessity for every girl, every woman to have that. So provide that. We want to provide diapers. I can tell you, children outgrow even the diapers. Some of them grow. My own daughter, we used diapers until we exhausted. For the children level, we began to use for the adults, because she was also, big in body and all that. And they're expensive, getting diapers, and you need a diaper. You find a child needs a diaper, maybe 3-4 diapers in a day. And so a pack hardly goes for 3-4 days. It's done. And so a number of them don't even come to the social spaces because they feel they are smelling. And they will not even come to our churches, because we want, when you're in church, you don't want to sit next to a smelly person. You'll be the first one to maybe to close your knows the best you can do. Let's bring the sanitary towels and the diapers and the baby wipes. We want to share such things. We want to share, wet wipes, the panty liners for the girls as they grow up. They don't have to struggle with things like yeast because of having, wet pants and all that. We want to have innerwear. Some of them can hardly even afford that and have such things and all that. Clothings and beddings. We have been in a cold season. I can tell you a number of those children, some of them don't even have warm clothing, and so coupled with the disability, they end up having pneumonia and all that, and and go down again with sicknesses that we could avoid. We want assistive devices. We are talking about coming to church and it's very loud, and you're talking about it's, because they have sensory, they cannot handle the noise. What about if we can be able to get maybe things like noise cancelling headphones, and we issue to those that have sensory disorders? They'll comfortably sit in our churches and be able to be spiritually nourished and formed, or go to social events when it's loud. Imagine when you're having things like those weddings and all that, and these ones you have to keep them at home because they cannot, withstand the loud noise. So those are the things we can have. Therapy items that are there. If you have those things like even, electric toothbrushes for those that have speech issues, sensory issues, and then non-perishable foods. A number of these children are on gluten, wheat-free, dairy-free, sugar-free foods. Parents, because we cannot afford, we give them whatever comes our way.
Because they also have to eat either way.
They also have to eat. And then we now damage their gut health. And so you find they're struggling to eat because their gut is damaged and all that. And they're not supposed to have that. Or some of them are hyper because now they're on sugars and all that. But if you can donate, those foods, you can donate maybe legumes, beans, lentils, dengus, and all those things that we can put together. You can, wimbi flour and all that, so that these children can get good nourishment that is not wheat, not unga chapati. A number of those are not on unga chapati and all that. Not wheat, not biscuits and all that. And then not so much sugar. We are not asking for sugar, but you can bring us brown rice. Get us brown rice or rice. Get us beans and we'll be very happy. Get us potatoes and we'll be happy. Get us potato flour, we'll be happy. Get us, yam flour, nduma flour, and we'll be happy. And, get us all those things that we can put together and we give these children and they're happy. And some of those things, and if maybe you are in pharmacy, and you can get some of those, supplements, but however, of course, we will not give until the doctor say this child might need. But they are usually low on things like zinc, magnesium, calcium, and all that. You might just find there's somebody who is in need of it, and maybe they were supposed to, or even other particular day, we might have people who can be able to, if you are a doctor and you just want to offer free services, and you come and you just have a look, and you are maybe a dentist and you just want to do dental check and see what you can recommend and some of those things, and it will really be good. But that is what we are doing on day one. We're teaching the teachers on how to do all these things. Day two, as we do the respite care, offering these things, and we have already gotten a call to go to Kilifi as well.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are hoping that the following weekend then we'll be in Kilifi, and in Kilifi we have our partners that we work with, and these ones, they run what we call Love Your Neighbor program. And so Love Your Neighbor, under Love Your Neighbor program, they have what they say Kivuli Kijijini. Kivuli Kijijini, like a tree shed where people can just come and rest. And so with that, there is a particular arm of a program, they say independent living, and this is for persons with disabilities again. And so under that, we have been called to go and do the same thing, teach the teachers, the church and the teachers, and then do the respite care again for, parents, caregivers, children.
In Kilifi.
In Kilifi. And so it's a two, I'll say, in Nairobi and a park again
Yeah,
in Kilifi
in
in
Kilifi.
December.
This indeed has been a fruitful conversation. I would like you to wind it up for us with a message to who is watching, to encourage them and to continue doing what they are doing, that is in support of children with disabilities.
Thank you, Alan, and I'm so grateful that we can have this conversation on TV. I want to encourage every viewer and let you know that every life matters. Every child is a person, an individual, and given the necessary care, given the necessary support, they can and will flourish. And the society flourishes when every person is giving constructively to the society. And it is you and I to put our hands together, to partner together, and be able to build a strong society where every individual is honored, is appreciated, is loved, and is cared for. And therefore, whatever support you can give, it does not matter how big, how small. There's nothing as too small. And there's nobody who is too poor to give, and nobody who can say, you know, they cannot give anything. Let's put our hands together. Whatever you have, it will count. And anything that you have, you can feel free to reach out to Saint TV, and they will be able to reach out to us and see how they can support us. And let's work together. And if you have a child around you who is or has a disability, do not just walk past them. Reach out to them and see how you can help. Your love will mean a whole lot to them. And so together, let's work together, let's partner together. And you can also always reach out to us at Beauty Out of Maya. Beauty is just the name, Beauty Out of Maya is MIRE@gmail.com. And we can get to know how to support one another. But God bless you as you continue to bring change. Together we can be voices for change and for love in our society.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fidel Ada Abaraza from Aboom Trust for making time. And thank you very much, our dear viewer, for making your time as well to sit through this conversation with Dr. And I hope that you've been able to learn a thing or two, and you will take action to support Beauty Out of Maya Trust. That's all we've had for you this morning. Let us see you tomorrow. Good morning.